the M step, and tomorrow you're going to take the next part. So before you take the next part tomorrow, you need to kind of have some, oh my gosh, some background. Sorry.
Can you believe
some
that
background and start thinking about some information that's going to help you with the performance task. So today we're going to talk about a cabinet and what a cabinet is, and that's going to help you tomorrow with a question. I don't know what the question is. I don't know what the performance task is going to ask you to do, but we're going to kind of activate our brains a little bit. Yes, Marilla?
How long is the test tomorrow?
We can talk about that later. Okay. How many of you guys have a cabinet in your house? All right. What kinds of things do you keep in a cabinet? What kinds of things? Ian?
Like books.
Books. Aaron?
Dishes.
Dishes.
Spices.
Spices.
Silverware.
Silverware.
Food.
Food.
Jars of candy.
Jars of candy. I want to go to your house. Grace?
Toys.
Toys.
Plates and spoons.
Okay.
Napkins. And is this the cabinet, like the president's cabinet?
That's a different kind of cabinet. That's a good question, though. This is like a physical cabinet, like a noun. Okay? Well, I guess a cabinet, a president's cabinet is a group of people, so I guess that would be a noun too, but that's a good question. Zach?
Like I keep cans in mine.
Okay, so cans of food, boxes of food, spices, dishes. What about like a bathroom cabinet? What would you keep in a bathroom cabinet? Connor?
Fleece.
Okay. Gabby?
A toothbrush or
Toothbrush, toothpaste,
like pills and medicine.
medicines, products that you use.
Lots of toilet paper.
Okay, toilet paper, Aaron.
Towels.
Towels.
A comb and stuff like that.
Okay.
Maybe soap.
So, Grace.
Cleaning materials.
Okay. How do you know? If a cabinet is organized correctly? Like, how do you? What does it look like if it's organized? Joe?
Clean.
Clean. What do you mean by clean? How do you know it's clean?
Not dirty.
Okay. Okay. Can anyone add to what Joe said about clean? Sammy?
Shelving.
Okay. Has shelving. Jake?
Like things are not knocked down everywhere.
Things are not knocked down.
Mine kind of have to be knocked down though. Like, I have stuff that I use in the morning.
Okay.
The cabinet's like this big,
Okay.
so I kind of have to knock them down.
Grace?
It's neat and orderly.
What do you mean by neat and orderly?
Things are in place if they have a special place, and there's not things kind of falling over and just kind of laying around. They have a
Okay.
special place.
So not things laying around or falling over. Okay. Ava?
Like if they're like spices, maybe they're like in alphabetical order, or if like they're nice and they're grouped together by what it does.
Wow, alphabetical order for spices. That's really organized, isn't it? Grayson?
Maybe some could be in bins and they're labeled.
Okay, maybe some things are in bins and labeled. Zach?
Like in rows.
Okay, in rows. In rows. Gabby?
You know where to find stuff?
You know where to find stuff. How many of you have ever gone into a cabinet and couldn't find something? And it's hard, isn't it? You're moving all kinds of things around.
of my
Does anybody have a strategy that they at home that they use with a cabinet to keep it organized? Ian?
My cabinets aren't organized, so just
They are not.
not at all.
Okay, Aaron?
Put stuff back where it was before.
Okay, maybe you know right where something is in a cabinet, so you put something right back where it was. Caleb?
I put the deodorant with the deodorant and put each thing in one section.
Okay, so you group things together. So maybe if it's a bathroom cabinet, you put all the deodorant together. Maybe you put all the hair gels together. If it's in the kitchen, maybe you put all the cereals together, all the cans together, so you group things together. Okay, Connor?
Like my closet, it's like 4 sections. Up here is like nice clothes and sweatshirts, then shirts, then jerseys.
Okay, all right. Joe?
Well, mine would pretty much like do, so if you take something out, ours aren't very organized, but if you take something out wherever there's not something, you can put it there.
Okay. Grayson?
What I do is, let's say you're to the bottom of, let's say, vanilla wafers box, and you finish those. You don't just put them back in. You
What about things that you use a lot in a cabinet and things that you use not so much? Does that kind of make a difference where you put things, Gabby?
For my closet, I have sweatshirts, which I use a lot, and all my nice dresses, which are on occasions I have it back farther, so it's not consuming a bunch of area if I'm not even going to use them.
Okay. Sammy?
You put things that you use more commonly and like every day in the front, and then things that you don't need every single day but still use in the back.
All right. If you look up here on the board, I have a picture of a cabinet. Okay?
Cabinet?
Yes, this is a cabinet. All right. I'm going to, I'm not really going to, but say I was going to move. Okay? So I'm going to move. And I'm going to pack up all the things in my bathroom. And I get to my new house, and I have this box of all different size things. And I'm going to put them in my new cabinet. So if you look at this cabinet up here, picture my box of things. How could I go about organizing this cabinet to make it neat and orderly? Grace, do you have any ideas for me?
Yeah, you could do like small things such as your toothbrush and things in the first shelf because it's smaller, and larger things like a hair dryer or something in the bottom drawer.
Okay. One thing I noticed about this is it calls this top shelf the first shelf. And if it didn't say first shelf there, I would probably call this the first shelf.
Yeah, me too.
So you kind of have to look at what they. So Grace says, say what you said again. Just noting that.
You could put small things like toothbrush and toothpaste and things in the first shelf.
Why would you put the smaller things in that top shelf?
Because it's a smaller shelf, so that way they won't take up the bigger shelf.
Okay, so the smaller things you would put on the smaller shelves, so they wouldn't take up room in the larger shelf.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can put bigger things in the larger shelf.
Okay, Joe.
You could put if you put the smaller things on the third shelf, then if you have like a certain amount of them, then you want to be able to put the big stuff in a shelf
Okay.
because they wouldn't be able to fit in the first shelf.
Good. Gavin, nice mom.
Well, I would put my toothbrush and my toothpaste on the second shelf because I might not be able to reach that first shelf very easily.
Okay.
And then like bigger stuff that I need more than the third shelf.
Okay, picture me in my box of things. What things should I place on my shelf first? What things should I put on the shelf first? Luke?
Things you don't need that much because they're going to be pushed to the back.
Okay, well, let's say that this shelf, I could reach all of them just fine, okay? And I just want to make the best use of my space. Like Grace says, I don't want to take up room in the larger shelf with the smaller things. So what items should I start placing first? Ben, what do you think?
The bigger ones,
Okay, tell me about that.
because when you put the bigger ones in last, then it'll block the smaller ones.
Okay. Anybody else have an idea? Ava?
Would it save space? You could put them in like not boxes, but like plastic, like small boxes, and like group them together, and then.
Okay. Think about this. All right, if I'm there and I have my box of things for my bathroom and I'm getting ready to put it on my shelf and I want to keep it as neat and organized and make the best use of my space, do I need to go get a measuring tape from the garage and start measuring things?
Well, maybe.
Unless
Or
you're,
is there
like,
another, or is there a different strategy I could use? Do I need to measure it or can I use it? Think a second. Think a second how you could do that. David?
You could go by weight too, because if you put the big things on top, they might crush the small things.
Okay, we're going to assume that these shelves are heavy-duty shelves. Okay? Grayson?
Well, I would put things that go together, like pairs that are like toothbrush and toothpaste, maybe soap and shampoo and your hand stuff. Those would be probably the second shelf.
Okay. Emma, what are you thinking?
Compare things.
Compare things to the shelf. Okay, I want you to think about that, what she just said. Compare things to the shelf. So keeping that in mind, which items should I try to place first? Ian?
Like the bigger items so that you can place the smaller ones around them. And so that like you don't end
Possibly.
up not having bigger things at the end that you can't fit in.
Connor?
It's kind of like at a lunch. Like my mom always says to put the big stuff on the bottom and put the lighter stuff on the top, so then the lighter stuff doesn't get squished.
Okay, I'm going to put the bigger stuff on the bottom. Why?
Because then the light stuff, it doesn't get all messy.
Do you guys know what these numbers mean?
Inches.
Right?
how tall they
Okay. So, should I start with the largest or the smallest items?
Largest.
How many say largest? How many say smallest?
Oh,
Somebody says smallest? Luke, why smallest?
Well, because
you have no idea.
actually I just think the smallest. I don't really know why.
Jake, what?
Well, maybe I could do the smallest stuff first, because maybe you would like bump into some of the stuff on the bottom shelf and it could break.
Okay. If I take the smallest item out of my box, where am I going to put it?
6.
Okay, you don't know how big my item is. You know how big the shelves are, but I'm taking a small item out of my box. Where am I going to try? Luke?
You can probably put it in like the smallest one because maybe the big ones won't fit.
Okay, I'm going to try this. Say this is my item. Okay, I get this out. This is something I use in the bathroom, we'll say. And I go ahead and I try to put it on the first shelf.
No.
Doesn't work, right? Try the second shelf.
No. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Why don't you put it
What can you tell me about an item that will fit in this top shelf? What can you tell me about that item? Not tell me what kind of item, just what can you tell me about it? Grace?
if it's gonna be very, very small.
It's going to be very small. How small? Sammy?
6 inches or less.
It's going to be 6 inches or less because that's the height of our top shelf is 6 inches or less.
Probably less.
Okay, what can you tell me about an item that can fit in the second shelf but not the top shelf? What can you tell me about an item that can fit in this middle shelf, second shelf, but not this top first one? What can you tell me, Marilla?
It has to be 9 inches or smaller and 6 inches and bigger.
Right, it has to be smaller than 9 inches, 9 inches or smaller, and bigger than, if it can't fit in here, it's bigger than 6 inches. What else can you tell me about an item that's not going to fit in my cabinet at all? What can you tell me about an item that's not going to fit? Laurel?
It's gonna be bigger than 15 inches.
It's going to be bigger than 15 inches. It's going to be, taller than 15 inches because on my largest shelf is 15 inches. And what else about it? Emma?
Maybe wider than what the cabinet is.
Well, good. Maybe wider than the cabinet. And what is how wide is this cabinet?
36 inches.
So it's going to be wider than 36 inches and taller than 15 inches. Okay? So tomorrow, when you guys get the performance task about the cabinet, I want you to think kind of outside the box, no pun intended, box, as to what they're asking you. I don't know what the question's going to be. So if you just kind of think about what we talked about today and how to organize a cabinet. Does anybody have any questions? Ian?
Is it gonna be like writing, or well, not really like? Is it gonna be a really long time?
You know what? I don't know. It's going to be a surprise for both of us.
Of course you don't know.